What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Brandon Coin YouTube channel, and today we have a build video. So we're going to be throwing together a budget system, and I'll be including the breakdown when I go through the parts. Ooh, look at that. That camera got a little fuzzy right there. But yeah, let's go into the workshop and see what we can throw together. All right, so the base for our system is an ASRock B550M HDV. So decent, basic little motherboard, and we have a Ryzen 7 3800X CPU. So solid little CPU. We are going to be going with probably 16 gigs of RAM. I need to see if I can pull some RAM together. I got an 8 gig stick here. We're not going to be going with anything special, just probably like some 3200 megahertz. I know I got some more over here. There's some. Might grab that. Anyway, so 16 gigs of RAM, and we're gonna be fitting it with got one of the stock coolers. And I think we're gonna go with a 1070. I got this 1070 right here. It's one of these big boys. Actually, I don't know if that may not work. May have to use a 1070 Ti because we are gonna be throwing it all into one of these, a Versa H15 from Thermaltake. It is, I believe it's a micro ATX, but I've had this case for a while. Let me get it all popped out for you. There we go. So there's the Thermaltake Versa. It is nothing fancy, but that's why we're going to be using it on this system, so we can pass those savings on to the proud new owner of this rig. And yeah, so let me get to assembling everything, and then we'll go from there. As for storage, I ordered some SSDs. Nothing has made it in yet, so we don't currently have storage, but I guess I'll get to that in the future when we do. Oh yeah, I forgot. For power supply, I got one of these 510 watt EVGA bronze. Should be more than enough for a 1070 and a 5700, or what was it, 3800? That's what it was, 3800. All right, get back to it. All right, guys, so the build is done, and it concludes with the same Ryzen 7 3800X CPU. We went with two 8 gig sticks of 3200 megahertz cheapo RAM. So we have 16 gigs of DDR4 3200 megahertz. For the GPU, it is the Asus Strix GTX 1070 triple fan. So lots of fans. This case is the Thermaltake that we were talking about, the Versa H15. It's a smaller form factor case, and it came pre-installed with a fan in just the back. There's actually not a fan in the front, but this is all mesh up here. So it should be able to breathe. It's got mesh in the top. This side panel is closed off, so it's not gonna visually be the most pretty computer in the world, but budget-wise, it should be awesome. And powering everything is going to be this EVGA. It's a BP series, but it is I believe it was a 510 watt. I think that's the one I ended up going with. Should be plenty of power for that 1070 and that 3800. As for storage, I did not end up having any SSDs here, so I'm going to go up top and get some pricing, and then I think this is going to be somewhere, I think minimum I need to put at least a 240 gig in here, but I might be leaning more closer to like a 480 or a 500 gig. So I'm gonna jump upstairs, but I'm gonna put this side panel back on just so it doesn't get any dirtier or any dustier, because in here it is kind of dusty and dirty. And before we sell it, whenever I go to put the SSD in and that kind of thing, I will be cleaning it up one last time. So yeah, let's get some, I guess, some B-roll here. For people that are wondering, the I/O on the back, the motherboard's got USB 2.0 up top, USB 4.0 down on the bottom, so looks like 6 USB slots. Of course, you got your Ethernet. Yeah, the motherboard does have onboard video, but I don't believe the 3800X has integrated graphics. So these onboard videos will not work. You're gonna have to use the video out of the actual graphics card, which is two HDMI, two DisplayPort, or sorry, two DisplayPort, and then one DVI. Dusty. And then obviously we can plug it in and have our power supply up and running. Oh, and a PS2 old style mouse and keyboard connector. As for IO on the front, got your headphone and microphone jacks up here, USB 3.0, USB 2.0, and then power button. I have a bad habit, or some people say it's a good habit. I do not connect the reset button. I took some computer classes way back in the day, and it probably has nothing, like holds no water nowadays, but it got drilled into my head by an instructor. You don't hook up the reset button. All the reset button does is cause problems. If you need to hard reset a computer, you hold the power button down. More often than not, people are trying to hit the power button to turn their computer off, like hit it one time and do a regular shutdown, and they'll hit the reset button, and then you have potentially corrupted data. So I never hook up the reset button on any of the builds I do, and I've never had a person like have a problem with it. There are some cases where like the reset button is really big and really in the way, and I make sure to let people know, like, I can hook it up if you want me to, but I never run into an issue where I need it or where other people need it. So there's the case. Now let's go upstairs. Let's find that storage drive. Let's find the total and then see what we're gonna sell this bad boy for. All right, guys, so I came upstairs and I was looking for some storage solutions, and it looks like this is gonna take the cake. So Team Group 512 gig SSD. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but it's gonna be great for getting somebody started. So I think 500 gigs a good happy medium. In the past, I used to do like 120 or 250 gig SSDs, and people fill them up like instantly. So 500 gives them some room to stretch their legs. If they want me to add more, that's something we can negotiate out when they come to buy the PC. But $26.99, you can't beat it. And it qualifies for Prime overnight on Amazon. Yeah, so I'm going to be grabbing a few of these for some upcoming systems. And let's go ahead and go through the breakdown now. So it looks like I went on and just checked used prices, because obviously if you're going to go buy this stuff new, it's going to cost quite a bit more. I'm not going to say I'm always going with like the cheapest price, because there are always outliers, but I try to take a good average and go from there for parts that I already have. Now Ryzen 7 3800X looks like it's somewhere in the range of about 160 to 180 bucks. So we split the difference, 175. The GPU at 125 for a 1070. Looks like most of them in decent working shape that are not OEM cards are going in that 120 to 150 range. The OEM ones are going in the low 100s, but a strict 1070, that's a step above. Some generic 16 gig DDR4, 40 bucks. Honestly, that's a little cheap. For some reason right now, I can't really find much DDR4 for less than like 50 bucks, but since it's no name brand, I'm not gonna go with the high end on that. EVGA 510 watt PSU, 50 bucks. Looks like they're going for $40 to $50 used, and actually new right now they're going slightly higher than that, which is weird because I thought the prices were cheaper. Motherboard, it's the B550, and the actual model is the B550M HDV. So those are going for 100 bucks, or a little over 100 brand new, and then used somewhere right in that $80 to $100 range. So 100 bucks on that, and storage was the $26.99, but after tax we'll just go ahead and put it at $30, and then the build fee of $75. So we get a total of $595. And people are going to ask me, what about Windows? What about Windows? So I'm going to be putting Windows 10 on these systems, and they are not going to be activated. Whenever I talk to somebody and they decide to buy it, then they can go ahead and buy a Windows 10 key, and I will show them some ways on how to do that. I used to buy keys and then put them on there, but some people advised me against that legality wise, because I guess a lot of these key resellers are not technically supposed to be putting them on systems for resale. I don't know. Regardless, $595. We'll probably go ahead and list it up for 600 bucks. and we'll see how fast this system goes. But yeah, I guess on the next episode, when I do the next system, we'll revisit this and see if anybody tweaks it, because everybody always wants to change something around here or there. Oh, you know what I forgot? I need to throw in a little wireless USB dongle. I'm not even going to add that onto the price of this one, because most of my parts were already on hand. So I'll grab a USB dongle and throw it in there, because most people need Wi-Fi of some sort. And yeah, so 600 bones, ladies and gentlemen. Let me flip this around. So now I get to realize the value out of my CPU, GPU, RAM, power supply, and motherboard. The only thing I had to buy on this one was a solid state drive, and I actually had that case on hand too. So I'm not planning on selling this one out of state. I don't want to ship it. Local is probably the best option, just so I don't have to worry about getting damaged and shipping and that kind of thing, because in the past that was always my biggest thing. I was like having to open the case up and pack them with like some kind of packing material, and then whenever they got it, if it was somebody that was inexperienced, they had to open it up and pull the packing material out, and it wasn't fun to deal with. So I don't like doing shipping stuff, and not at this level. So this is just a fun little side hobby for me to trim down some of the CPUs and GPUs that I'm not planning on keeping or using in the future. And obviously gives you guys some stuff to watch. So if you have any critiques, let me know. I'm definitely not a pro PC builder. Whenever I do use cases that don't have an open side panel, I don't get really strict on like wire management, because nobody's going to see it. As long as it's somewhat tidy, out of the way, and it's not going to interact with anything, it's good in my book on a closed case system. And as for like PC building, I've been doing it for a little while, but nobody's perfect, and I'm always willing to learn. So if you have any tips, drop it down below, and we'll keep that ball rolling. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this kind of stuff. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I'd love to hear you guys down below. Just let me know. I made it. You made it. And then you can comment after that. So, all right. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to start editing this video, and we'll see you on the next one.